fucking wrote down. Which brings me to one of the things I'd like to mention. So,
yes,
I've got my little list. Programming. Is it hardware programming or software programming?
Okay, can you make the distinction between hardware and software?
Put your blonde head on. Put your blonde cap on. No, so what I'm saying is when people are saying, oh, it's a program, right? Or they're saying, oh, I'm not confident or I'm not this or whatever, and someone says, oh, that's a program. Well, that's great. So how do we remove it? I love everybody naming things and calling things, but let's have it solution-orientated fucking naming, shall we?
Yeah.
So if it's hardware, I often see that it's different to software. Software for me is usually a program of frequencies, right? Mm-hmm. It's programmed in as a frequency that is jamming you, interfering with you, etc. I think the matrix is software programming, where somehow we have a receiver, right? And we're receiving the signals of the matrix, or it's jamming the signals from the organic. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So in the software, I'm talking about how it runs us, right? In the hardware, I'm talking about how it not so much gets in, but if it's hardware, is it a black box? Is it a GMO that I've ingested that is now sending out a signal? You know what I mean by hardware? Not so much more material, but more so
it's more like the chip or the actual thing that
the physical manifestation.
Itself.
Not that a black box is so much a physical manifestation, because it really is in the etheric, but it's more about how it affects the physical. So like a physical programming of fear, for instance, could be an adrenal spike and then the cortisol holding, right? But a software programming of fear could be a frequency sent out that you then react to.
Right. Okay. I'm getting my head around it.
Get it under it. Get it into it. What are we talking about with the head? Fucking feel it, bitch. Feel it, baby. More flies with honey than...
Yes. Yeah. No. I get it though. I do. I get it.
Give it back to me.
I get it. So the software is the actual sort of frequency itself, but the hardware is like almost like the receiver or the projector, or well, it's more like the receiver within the body, whether it appears to be as a black box or a chip or some kind of weird implant.
Yeah, more physical. More physical, in the sense that it's affecting a physical experience for you. So like taking that example of fear, taking the example of poverty consciousness, right? Mm-hmm. Some of it will be beamed at you, or a frequency you're reacting to of scarcity. And some of it will be where you've had an imprinting or a past life or whatever, where, you know, you were starved to death, therefore you always think there's not enough.
Yes, yes. Okay, that would be considered as hardware.
Well, maybe even software. I'm blurring my own bloody lines. But hardware for me was more that how it affects the physical. So it's like when you're looking at programming in someone, the whole point of it is when you're looking at programming in someone, there's going to be multiple layers of this programming to look at. So sometimes, you know, when you've had something happen and we go tune in, is it inside or outside? You know, and it's, that's coming from CERN, or that's a projection, or whatever. It's like you can go further in when you're clearing it than just moving that. So what effects did it have? Well, it might have ripped a hole in your fucking etheric. It might have caused you to react in a certain way. Or it might have caused a physical manifestation, like a boil, like a bruise, like upsetting the period, the hormonal system. Is getting the gist? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm getting the gist, yeah.
Anyway, that was just a little something that came into my mind in between rides. There it is.
No, that's really interesting. It's because, to have that definition, because it's been like, I've noticed all of what you said, but I wasn't able to define it. So me hearing you say that, it's like, that makes actually a lot of sense.
Look, you know, I'd love to share it, so God only knows if it's really necessary. Because that's the whole point, right? We're all fucking pontificating over flat earths, domes, momes, memes, motherfuckers, whatever. What the truth is this, her, and getting the fuck liberated.
Yeah.
I like liberated more so than out of here, etc. Because freedom means it doesn't matter where you are. It's a state of being. You know, you're not relying on the outside to create the inside.
Yeah. Yeah. Liberated is better.
Liberation. Oh, the other thing that these things have been coming up in sessions, that's why or, you know, discussions, whatever. The other thing was blood covenants.
Yes. Okay. So blood covenants, I remember we were talking about that the other day, about that ritual being even within religion.
Totally within religion.
Yeah.
Every time you eat the body and drink the blood of Christ, hello, what are you fucking doing? So my advice to you then is, as you do your revocations, your clearings, whatever, is to do it from all bodies, consciousnesses, all dimensions, all points in time, timelines, time tracks, but any ancestral stuff too, because a lot of them were required to pledge their next 7 generations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
yes.
Get it out of fucking every system and out of every self in the matrix. You know?
All dimensions of self.
Totally. Like I hear a lot of people saying, I've cleared that. And it's like, but have you cleared it from all dimensions of self? Firstly, then they go, what's all dimensions of self? Fair enough.
Yeah.
You have all dimensions of self as your different experiences or past lives in the matrix. And for us, they're all happening at once. That's why we can access them, play with them, manipulate them, clear them, because it's all happening now. Time is but an illusion. That's multidimensional self. That's multidimensional experience. As one of you're just having a lot of fucking experiences. Anyway, back to it. So, why I say that is, so say you've got an organic chick and she has a baby with an inorganic male. Well, obviously she'd have to have some impregnation from a male. And by that I'm talking about what's running these creatures. Whatever that male has running it, the child will have blood links to it. So you need to renounce the blood links for the child. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Otherwise it'll carry all of that with it.
Totally. It's be farming its energy.
Yeah. Right. Would that be like the only link to the inorganic? Just all those blood covenants or the agreements? Or
I don't know.
Would there be...
No, it was just when I was looking at the blood covenants, that was another thing that came up.
Right.
Share this. This was with, this happened, a client was sharing this with me, right, because we'd done this work. So she has someone in her family that's quite famous. And she could never understand why. She thought it was very ordinary. Anyway, so in doing the work, she had the feeling that this person was inorganic, blah, 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 and was running on her life force DNA. So in pulling the life force DNA, that was great. But what we also did in that moment was pull her charisma, her creativity, her success, right? Her juju that had somehow, in whatever way, shape or form, she'd agreed to farm off to this inorganic. Anyway, so that was great and blah, blah, blah. So recently she saw him again and hadn't seen him for like 2 years. So she saw him, and what first struck her was he had no X factor. That aura that was always around him that people just flocked to and sort of genuflected over was not present. It was amazing. It was really amazing. So
wow.
Yeah, that was, and it wasn't just her that saw it. It was the person that went with her as well, made the comment first, because it was like that apparent. And then it was interesting watching the people's reaction to that person again, without the juju, without that special shine. So when you're withdrawing or when you're taking back this life force, this creativity they've been running on or that you suspect this has happened with, just I don't know if that was time. I don't know how long it took because, you know, there was not a lot of seeing in between. But that was a result reported. So keep it up.
That's incredible.
Yeah, right?
That is incredible. Wow.
So,
I mean, I didn't even think to, because just to pull your life force is one thing, but then to kind of pull those elements as well, like specifically, I find
there
that
are
to
no
be really.
rules. It's like when you're doing it, go with the feeling. It'll tell you. Moo tells me, and she doesn't talk to me. There's no channeling here. We don't do the channel name, zing name. Okay. So anyway, just a little something. Try that one when you're pulling your life force DNA from any reality you're not sovereign in.
Oh, for me, it's like the new black.
Right?
Yeah, it really is. I'm just like,
bitches.
yeah. It's just like, I feel a lot better when I do it.
Huh?
Because I feel a lot better when I do it.
You do,
and
you
then I
different.
really feel the dynamics change when I do it as well. It's like, it really is just like another way of making my own reality that much greater and actually solving the exterior a little bit, you know? It's sort of...
It's empowering. And it just makes you feel like you're fucking rocking it instead of a victim to this outside bullshit fuckery.
Oh, yeah. Fully.
But I mean, I don't know if it's just being here at the magical Casaveras or what, but I'm feeling like I'm more in the organic timeline. I have to enter the matrix. I have to physically, consciously engage the matrix at the moment, you know? It's like, I don't know what it's like everywhere else because, dang, I ain't there. I'm not intending on going anywhere else. You know, it's working for me here. Why move? Why bother? I've got my outlet to the world.